So as you know, right now, everyone is jumping into the AI wave, building agents, watching tutorials, all trying to cash in, right? And I don't blame you, but to be honest, the harsh truth is most of them will burn out. Not because AI isn't powerful, but because they're building things that no one is actually buying. If you've ever tried building AI agents and wondered, why isn't this making money? Why is no one buying? Or what am I doing wrong? Or you're confused, this video is your answer. I'm going to walk you through the exact system I use to turn AI tools into real income without any dumb, gimmicky bills or random automations. So first, let's fix the biggest mindset mistake most people are making right now. And the biggest thing is you need to have the right mindset. A lot of people in this space right now are struggling from what they have is developer brain, or dev brain is what I like to call it. And what that is you're very smart, overly smart. But the thing is, a lot of times when you're too smart, it actually becomes a problem in business. You overthink everything. You're trying to sell towards people that don't want specifically what you're trying to sell. Or you can't grasp the concept of business because you're too stuck in dev brain. And what it literally is you spend too much time coding and making agents or, looking on how to make agents. And it's leaving you in a state where your brain always has to have everything that makes sense. A lot of times in business, some things don't make sense. It's just what people want to buy. I can't explain how many trends go off that are retarded that you guys see all the time, and people buy from those trends and it doesn't make sense. And that's the biggest thing that's going to hurt you, is having that type of dev brain. You're going to go and you're going to see things and you're going to be like, well, this doesn't make any sense. Sometimes things don't have to make sense to get sales. And I'm going to show you guys later on in the video exactly how you can ensure yourself that you can be able to get sales. But another thing I want you guys to get a hold of and realize is a lot of things that you guys are building, you're not building bots, you're not building AI agents, you're building leverage. And what this means is you're going to be able to build something that you can put into a business, that you can put into someone else's business or your business, that can allow them to have more of an output that they've never been able to have before. And that's super important to them, because before, what it would take 10 days to do, if you can make a agent or an infrastructure that can reduce it in 1 day, that's leverage. If you can do something that used to take 10 people to be able to pull off a task every day, and you would have to hire them and have them on payroll, if you can do that with one agent or one infrastructure, that's leverage. And the right mindset you need to have as well when you're going into something like this, and you want to go in solo, or you want to do everything, before you start building, and we're going to talk about building soon, most people build things with no end user in mind. You're scrolling on YouTube, you're finding the coolest things that you think, which is great. Sometimes cool is awesome, but you're finding what a lot of people are making, and you're finding what's cool, and you're wondering why it's not selling. The big secret is a lot of those guys making those videos as well, they aren't selling either. You need to be able to take an account to that. What you need to do is frame your mindset, get away from dev brain, get away from, overthinking, and realize that a lot of these businesses, you need to be able to have a end goal in mind with the agent you create. And what I mean by an end goal in mind is you need to be able to know what specific problem that generates more revenue this can solve. A very simple formula: problem plus agent equals revenue. If you get that dialed in, any agent that you present or any infrastructure or system you present to a business will generate you more money. And that's what leads me to the second point: how to find a profitable system to build. So let's not be retarded here, right? Don't start with the tool. We're going to start with the pain. And a lot of you guys are building tools that nobody wants. Fuck it. If you want to sell ice to Eskimo, you do that. But I don't really think you should do that, to be honest, right? The framework you should use is, if I could remove the most annoying task for a business owner, what would it be, right? The same formula that I'm talking to you guys about. You take a problem plus the right AI agent or AI system, it's going to make you revenue. And that's what you're here for. That's what you're watching the video for right now, right? So for example, whenever you're going towards any business, or you're talking to a business, or you're looking at any type of business, find what the biggest problem is. Once you find what the biggest problem is, then you can go off and start to make your agent. And I have tons of videos. That's why we're not doing this in front of a n8n workflow. There's thousands of videos out there now on YouTube that you can watch. There's dozens of videos on my YouTube channel that you can watch. But I want you guys to space away from the whole AI agent thing right now. Really sit down and take this into account, that it's not about even the best people, the best agent builders and the best n8n tool builders, they probably don't make more money than me. And it's simply just because of the fact that I can sell more agents than they can in a non-salesy way too as well. And there's small ways to test this out too as well. Like before even building the agent, what you can do is you can find a list of 20 people in different niches or finding 20 different problems, right? And then you could go out and you can start reaching out to them like, hey, I built this agent or I built this infrastructure. This is what it does and will really solve this problem. Maybe take into an account if you reach out to those people and you don't get a response back, it's probably not that big of a problem, or it didn't make too much sense and you're probably doing the dev problem again, so we're gonna have to relapse. But what I did as well, and what's worked for a lot of my students as well, is you can go in, and one of my students actually did this. He was struggling at first, but what he did is I taught him to go in, approach different niches, right, with different problems and figure out what problem it is. So he went off and he started sending batch emails. Like he started sending 10 people a specific problem and an agent that he can build for them. No response. He did it again, no response. He did it again, no response. On the 5th try, he did it and he got a response. He got a response for a specific problem. Then he went ahead and did the hard work and the heavy lifting by building the agent after that. What a lot of people do is, like I'm saying, dev brain. You guys are stuck building 20, 30 different agents and you have nothing to show for it. You're not selling it. You're not testing it into the market. You're just building. You're not here to build. You're here to build and then sell, right? How else are you going to make more money? I get the sales part is complicated and we'll go over that. And I have things to help out more with that. But you have to find a profitable system to build, or more importantly, you have to find a profitable problem to solve. So the best part on the making money part, and the thing all you fucking nerds are chasing after, is the building part. It's actually super easy. Like once you have a specific problem, there's been YouTube videos that have popped off about it too as well. You can literally use Claude to make a lot of, like 95% of the agents as well, right? You can go through, you make these AI agents in n8n, that's the best one to use. And then once you have a problem, a specific problem, and you're not copying anyone else's, right? You can then take it and be able to go into Claude and then create your whole entire n8n agent. It's literally that simple that you can then go out and start to sell, right? Once you have that part dialed in, once you have the agent, the best way to think about it is how specifically do you want to monetize it? There's different ways to do it, right? You can sell different agents or infrastructures for a one-off price, right? But I personally don't like to do that. The way I've gotten my results, right, and the way my students have gotten their results is simply just because what we do is we charge an amount to set it up, right? And that what you guys are charging. But then also we charge a retainer, or we charge like a percentage profit share of their business to be able to continue to run it. And that is the most foolproof way that you can do it, because that way, once you sell, we're not scared and, running with our heads cut off looking for the next sale. We're actually building partnerships. And that's the biggest thing that has gotten me most of my success, is building these partnerships and getting a rev share from it. Once you do that as well, the way you deliver it is you don't actually make the business create their own agent and their own n8n. You host it. You host the agent or the infrastructure. So that way you have leverage in the partnership. So that way, because I've seen it before, what's happened to me and happened to a student before, this was months ago, but we set it up and then we didn't get paid for what we were worth. Like we only got paid for like half of the amount, because that's what it was a weird conversational thing. The business owner felt like it was only worth this much, so they only paid out that much, right? But it's much different, because once you set it up and you have a rev share, they rely more on you. And once you have it privately hosted and you're the one hosting it and they're not hosting it to where they can take it, they rely on you, and you hold more leverage that way too as well. And just remember, once you do all of the heavy lifting in the beginning, right, you're able to fix your mindset towards where it needs to be, right? You're not stuck in dev brain and you're not in la la land just building a bunch of agents and then fucking going to bed. Like what you're actually doing now is you're able to figure out a specific problem that you can solve. You can now go in, like I said, if you know how to build agents already, great. But if not, you can use Claude, build any profitable agent or infrastructure for yourself. Then once you have something that it fits in all those compartments, you can sell them the same thing over and over again, right? Because now you know it's a product that actually works. And then you could productize it and start to sell it over and over again. And that's the shit that everyone wants to do. And that's the shit that you need to do in that very simple structure, right? right? Like I said, all you guys need is a little bit of n8n, then mix it with ChatGPT to make it for you, or mix it with Claude to make it for you, and you're literally 95% of the way there. A simple way to sell it too as well is, this is the only time you want to sell like a creator. Like, you want to sell like a creator. Don't sell like a salesman. Salesmen, they're very pushy. They force you to do things that you don't want to do. And that's what a lot of people are doing wrong. And that's also probably why a lot of you guys are afraid to sell these agents, and you're stuck and you think you're productive by creating them. What you can do is sell like a developer. On the first call, you don't do any selling. You just ask simple questions to figure out what specifically they need. And once you get that and you go to build the agent, you let the agent sell for you. You're like, okay, this is what it does. It's going to solve this specific problem. Do you want it or not? And a lot of times, been on calls, and a lot of my students have been on calls, this is what works, because it's not salesy. You're letting the product sell for you, right? That's why a lot of, like, Lamborghini doesn't have any commercials. Why? Because Lamborghini, it sells for themselves. They don't need a salesman to really sell you. But I hope you guys find this valuable, because this is the system that to allow me to generate 10, 15, 20K a month without a team, right? Without fancy software, just using the same exact formula. I hope this was valuable for you. If you guys need any extra help, I do one-on-one coaching. You can check it in the link in the description as well. But until then, take care. Peace.